Thank you for joining Effortless Attraction. My name is Evelyn McAleer. I'm the author of A Life You Want, Effortless, and The Woman's Journey. I'm a life coach, business mentor, and inspirational speaker. And my greatest value is making a difference in people's lives. So I hope through these podcasts, I can make a difference to your life. A little bit more information before we pop on over to the podcast. So we're currently residing in the stunning province of Almeria in the south of Spain. As an extension of my mentoring and life coaching services, I'm now offering 4-night retreats tailored for women who are ready to prioritise themselves. So if you're a woman and you're interested in spending quality time with myself and 2 other participants, please visit my website for more details. Additionally, for business leaders and coaches who wish to have their own retreat here in Spain with their clients, I handle all of your logistics, including airport transfers, accommodation and meals for your group. If you'd like to request a retreat proposal, kindly send me an email. You'll get all of my contact information in the description below. Thank you.
Effortless Attraction podcast is sponsored by Colette Leeson Interview and Career Coaching. If you dream of landing your ideal job, consider Colette's services. With a success rate exceeding 90% among her interview clients, Colette offers personalized career guidance and interview coaching discreetly, both online and in person. She also conducts workshops and provides career advice talks. For further details, visit ColetteLeeson.com.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on another Effortless Attraction podcast. You'll get to hear Effortless Attraction on Spotify, Apple, all major podcast platforms, and also on YouTube. So today I am joined with David Scullion. I'm going to give you a wee intro to David, and we'll find out more about him when we get the conversation flowing. David is a renowned spiritual guide and musician. His curiosity about the true nature of reality and a desire for freedom led him to study with some of the world's most respected teachers. And today, through his online platform and ceremonies, David continues to share insights, helping others to find balance, clarity, and connection to their lives. David, you are most welcome.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. How are you doing?
You sound so excited to me. I know you are excited.
Yeah.
So, David, when I was looking through your bio, and there's a line that stood out to me, and that's where I want to begin. A desire for freedom. Enlighten us. What is freedom?
Freedom. I guess freedom could mean many things, but for me, freedom means acceptance of the moment and having balance in the mind and equanimity within your experience from moment to moment as best we can. I think that for me to really narrow it down, freedom would be equanimity within one's experience.
And to me, that's a big word. I'll be honest with you now. So if somebody says, Evelyn, do you want equanimity?
Equanimity.
Equanimity. I'd say,
Yeah.
what? You what? So, you're going to have to go further here, David. Go layman terms.
It's just that I guess you're not being pulled and pushed so much by your experience, let's say. You have a sense of awareness and an understanding that mindfulness or true mindfulness really is a very powerful ally in life, because the waves of life come at us unexpectedly, and the pleasures and pains and ups and downs are always there. But if you establish, and I guess through certain practices or certain training, then one learns to be able to remain in a kind of more balanced way regardless of what comes. So that could be a way of describing equanimity. It's kind
of so it's like whatever's taking place outside of us,
or even within. And probably more even importantly, it's the real challenge with it is within, with the certain emotions and certain thoughts or even belief patterns and things like this. It's really about your perception, I guess, about the perception of your experience, of your life, of who you are, or, these types of things. And of course, all of these things are relevant. It's not to dismiss, an individual's reality, but it's to, in a way, just to be able to step back and to just observe what's happening and not react. And in the non-reaction, there is a certain freedom or balance, or I guess you could call it equanimity.
Okay. So, for a man to sit and speak about that, obviously you've had life experiences. I know a good wee bit about you. I think there's nothing you haven't done. But David, I want to take you back many years ago. And there was an experience that took place in your life. And I suppose everything has that knock on effect to where you're at today. And I don't want to stir up old pain or anything for yourself, but could you tell the viewers or listeners, please, what took place in your life as a young boy?
Sure. No, it's fine. Absolutely happy to talk to you about it. So whenever I was 2 years of age, my parents died in an accident, and my family was separated. So I had a few brothers and sisters, and obviously that's a huge event in a young person's life. And really being so young and having that happen, when I started to become, I guess, conscious of being even here or being a person at a very young age, I guess I was set up to view reality in a different way. I was very acutely aware of my environment, the people around me. I was very sensitive to how people were feeling. Sometimes you would even think that you could tell what they were thinking. Let's say, you really, a sense of hypervigilance kind of set on. And yeah, I guess it had quite a profound effect on me from a young age.
And later on, when I was reading as well, because you're a master at yoga, I'm not sure of the terminology.
Well,
Master teacher, yoga, near
glad you
enough.
said it. You said it, not me.
But there was also onset within your body with different things perhaps that has taken place in life, and you had found through yoga that had healed your body again. Just let us know, or for the listeners, what was taking place within yourself.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a few ways you could look at it, and you wonder what the causes of certain things are. But obviously, there was this experience whenever I was young, and for a long time in my life, of, you could call it like a type of very subtle redlining. It's like the pressure is up all the time. Like I said, this kind of hypersensitivity, hypervigilance. So eventually it led to a type of exhaustion in my 20s. But whenever I was younger, I would have been doing a lot of martial arts and things like this. And I competed as a martial artist in mixed martial arts. And for that, you have to get medical clearance and things like this. And when I went to the doctor to get blood tests, he came back with the results and told me that I had a condition called ankylosing spondylitis. And apparently it was a condition that my father had. And if he had been alive for, I guess, a few years more, the doctors were telling him he was going to end up in a wheelchair because it was so bad. So ankylosing spondylitis is a degenerative condition primarily in your spine. And over time, the vertebrae in your spine can start to fuse together. So whenever I was a teenager, it started to get pretty bad and uncomfortable with sciatic pains and things like this. And when it was at its worst, I couldn't sleep laying down. I had to sleep in a chair. And yeah, I guess at a certain stage, from the exhaustion and this condition, I started to seek out some type of way of managing it. And by this time, I had moved to Australia. I had started surfing by this stage. My background is in engineering and in architecture, and I left that to go to Australia to just surf and be free, live on the beach, this type of thing. But these conditions and this way of being really caught up with me. And then it was in Australia many years ago, maybe over 18 years ago now, that I started to dabble in yoga and meditation. And based on the experiences that I had, subtle in the beginning, it led me to study these things full time. And it was on yoga retreats of intense training, and meditation retreats as well of intense meditation. And by that I mean doing it all the time for many hours during the day, for days at a time. I experienced quite profound healing effects and experiences, which just really, firstly, really surprised me, but it also inspired me to continue on. And it showed me that there was something of great depth here, that there was something much more than meets the eye. And I'm curious by nature. So I just began to follow that path fully and devoted myself full time to it. And I could say that the combination of both yoga and meditation cured that condition in my back. I'm now older than my father was. I'm much older than my father was now when he died, and I don't have any of the side effects or degeneration of that condition.
I often hear there's a guy, Joe Dispenza, is quantum physics, but he had a severe car accident, or he was on a bike and hit by a car. But it was about rebuilding. He was in a wheelchair, rebuilding himself, and it was through meditation, all of that, going in and seeing it and visualizing it. Now, when we speak about the word meditation, I know for so many people this is such a chore. It's difficult, first of all, anyway, to make the time. Then when they do decide, it's like all these thoughts start drifting in. Is it something that we have to practice over time to immerse ourselves in it, that these other outside thoughts aren't coming in to disturb it, David?
I think it's important in the beginning to figure out what it is that you want to achieve with it. There are many styles of meditation, there are many paths, and ultimately you could say that they all lead to the same goal, but certain styles of meditation will yield certain results. I think it's good to find a good teacher, and I think it's good to understand what you want to achieve with it. But I definitely don't feel that it's something that you have to make a chore out of, because you're just adding extra pressure, and the likelihood that you're going to let it go is much higher. This idea of trying to stop the thoughts completely and trying to radically alter one's experience, I think, again, may not be the most useful way to approach it. Of course, you need to take action, and you need to plan, and you need to dream, and look at the path ahead in your life. But it's actually quite a simple practice, and it can actually be quite an enjoyable practice. And when I give the meditation to people through the platform that I have, or the yoga on it, I would say to them, don't make a chore of this. Just do it a few times a week and take that time for you. If you start putting this pressure on yourself, which a lot of people do, is they start doing yoga, they start meditating, and they start telling themselves, I have to do this every day, and I have to do it for an hour, from nothing, I think is too much. If you feel inclined to do that, then do that. But it's better to just, go easy on the path in the beginning and feel into it. And obviously, when you start to feel the results of it, when you start to feel how it is beneficial to you, then naturally you will want to do it more. But like I said, ultimately it's cultivating a way of being that then you take into your daily life. It's something that you can just tune into. It's there with you all the time. There's a saying in yoga that no time on the path of yoga is ever lost. So even the little bits of meditation, those little 10, 20-minute sessions that you might do maybe 2 or 3 times a week, that always stays with you. And in my experience, whenever the real challenges of life have come, my practices arise within me. The fruits of them arise within me. Obviously, I still feel everything. I could be very angry. I could be, I could be really triggered or whatever. But there's some part of me that's going, "Hey, remember this?
Yeah.
Let's just."
I always say, remember to remember. But in that, I think if meditation is for people, or if they get, their thing, as you said at the start, a desire of freedom, I believe, and that I do through meditation myself, you feel that freedom. And then it's now you have to come back. And here's life.
Mm-hmm.
And is carrying those practices. But I have a wonderful group of women, and we speak 3 mornings a week. We do meditation on a Tuesday morning. And it's a wonderful thing to hear stories that are coming up in their lives. And they come out of them going, gosh, I felt myself just watching that or witnessing that. I wasn't triggered or reacted to things, because eventually it all dwindles into the subconscious, and we have to put it into practice in some way, because the consequences are a bit heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So you help, David, a lot of people through your online platform and ceremonies, and you said it's to help others to find balance and clarity and connection to themselves. What type of people come to you?
These days, it would be, I guess, it's everyone and anyone, to be honest. Even younger people. Like I worked in a martial arts gym in Dublin, and there was a lot of teenagers there that were into jiu-jitsu and things like that, and that's what I trained on at that time, was jiu-jitsu. And they were so ready for a yoga practice and a meditation practice. And whenever I would be working with those young guys in the gym, we would be stretching out and we'd be breathing, and I would be training them to be aware of the feeling of their body, how they felt emotionally and mentally, everything like this. And they were able to take those concepts into their martial art, into jiu-jitsu, which is it's a mental game. It's like human chess, as a way that people talk about it. So they were already very primed to receive it. Then also you get people that are, middle aged. They have a family, they have children, and now they're looking for something else. They're seeking a type of deeper connection within themselves. And that would be another, for me, the real core essence of these practices. Of course, it's good to have a balanced mind. It's good to be able to have some type of sovereignty over your space and your life. But on a deeper way, these practices tap you into what you could call like a primordial essence within yourself. You're paying attention to the subtler aspects of who you are, of your conscious experience. And again, with the right type of meditation technique, you can really drop into a real depth within yourself that doesn't take years and years and years to dig and get at. And for me, what I love is giving people the tools to tap into this true essence within themselves that then flows forth into their life. And you're tapping into something that then brings a type of spontaneity in your life through your art, through your interests, through your passions, through all the different aspects, your family life, your vitality. it's the practice is really about tapping into something that then comes forward, and there's a type of freedom and joy in that. And to be honest, I think everybody these days is really seeking for something deeper within themselves, seeking for meaning within their lives. So for me, that's the real juice of it as
Yeah.
well.
I often think you could obtain all the material things that you desire in life. But if that peace is not inside yourself, it's no different. You just have
Hmm.
all these things, but a disturbance is taking place. I always think that the ultimate goal that the search is about is a peace. And when you get there, it's only when you get there you think,
Hmm.
maybe that comes with age. I don't know. Maybe it comes with experiences. But you're right there. I find a lot of people, including myself, when I got to a certain age in life, thinking there has to be something more. And not more as in job wise, money wise, but that hunger or search, there must be something more.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's just I think it's within us all. I think it's a very natural feeling, and again, through these practices, you can very quickly realize that although we are trying to tap into a truer sense of who and what we are, a type of freedom as we talked about, but at the same time, it's right there in front of you. It's right there all the time. And really all that is required is a shift in perception. And that is the real key of it as well. Like, it's not this mountain that one has to climb or a valley that you have to traverse to get water at the bottom of it. It's right there. And I think that we feel it, but we may not have had it pointed out to us so directly.
Hmm.
And to just know that the yeah that freedom is always there, and you are complete as you are, that there's nothing lacking. It's only a perception that something is lacking.
David, can I ask you a question? And I know we went over this earlier on. You grew up without your biological parents. Was there ever anger there? Or, you see other ones with their mommy and daddy, and why me?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of anger, absolutely. May not have been acted out, or may not have been so obvious to the people around me, but absolutely there was a fire that was burning, uh, for sure. And it's one of the things that I've really confronted through the practices. Now, I'm not saying that it's not there, because if something happens, I would be easily triggered, but it's how quickly that you catch yourself. And anger is not your enemy. These reactions, these emotions are not your enemy, or the thoughts even themselves. But it's just about having a different relationship, I guess, with these different colors and textures of yourself.
Yeah. You could have chose to make it your story all your life. A lot of people do have their story as to why life is the way life is, why I am the way that I am. But you chose a different I am, or to find out the true for you, the true I am.
Yeah, well, for me, obviously the early years until I left Ireland, until I went to Australia, I think I was really running. And I guess whenever I left for Australia, it was a type of running away. It was to get away. And there was nothing I was trying to get away from. It wasn't that bad. I was raised by a lovely family, and it was challenging, of course, but I think yeah, I think there was a sense of running away in the beginning.
And then you have to stop and face things. But look, isn't it? how things all step in, to go to Australia, to do this, to do that, then sure you were traveling all around the Amazon.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about that part of it.
Well, sure, we'll go there. Listen, it's a far shot from Balahi, but you went to the Amazon.
I did, yes, I did, yeah, yeah. Like I was saying, I was fine in a sense of like I had a good life. Like I said, I had a good career and everything. But by the time I went to Australia, I worked for a quite a large architects firm, and yeah, this longing or this burning was there. And then I read an article in the National Geographic that talked about a shaman in the jungle in Peru, and the journalist wrote about her experience of going to interview this shaman, but she actually ended up going and doing a dieta with him. And a dieta is like, obviously that's a diet, but it's a period of time being immersed in the jungle and working with or drinking plant medicines, as they would be called, that have different effects. Some of them are psychoactive, but primarily they are for healing. So I read this article and I know nothing about any of these things. I'm not a spiritual person at this time. I'm a materialist. I don't believe in anything, to be honest, at that time. And she had an email address for this guy that she had created, if anybody wanted to reach out to him. So I contacted him and he told me to be at a certain airport at a certain time and he would take me to the jungle.
Well, can I stop you there? When he replied back and said, "Now I want you to be here at that time," did your stomach do somersaults at this and to go, "Am I actually doing this?"
It did, yeah. But I guess what happened was I started to feel, like I said, the past was really catching up with me, the momentum of it, the exhaustion of this way of being again, and it's very, very subtle. Only I can really see it clearly now, but at the time it was very subtle. And I just became exhausted and I knew that I wasn't happy. But again, I had a good life. I had a good career. Everything on
All
paper
the
was good.
things that people tell you would make you happy.
Yeah, yeah. But I had this desire from nowhere to speak with my father, in particular my father. And I read in this article that they call ayahuasca the vine of the dead in the jungle, that it's possible to communicate with the spirit world. And when I read that, something happened. And I just started to again write to this the shaman, and this process of going there began. But whenever he replied to me, yeah, I'm told, and it was actually going to happen, uh, I became very nervous, obviously, because I'm taking a huge leap into the unknown. And I don't know this man. I have no reference for this whatsoever. Now, if you go on the internet and you type in something like ayahuasca, let's say, there's lots of information, there's lots of music, there's lots of testimonials. But back then, there was nothing. When I tried to research it, there was just a couple of articles in the National Geographic, and that was it. There was nothing on YouTube or anything, if you can even imagine back then. But yeah, it was a big step and a big leap of faith. But at the same time, it just felt very natural. It felt right. It felt like, yeah, this is something that I'm being called to do.
And off you went, off to the Amazon.
Yeah,
Well, the question that I have to ask you now, did you connect with your father?
I did. Yes, I did. Both of them together. Yeah, and it was an absolutely profound and beautiful and an experience that is so beyond words that it was worth the trip. I can tell you that. But when I went, sorry, go on ahead. I don't
No,
want
no, I
to
was
take.
going to say, not that I need to be privy to all that was spoke about. Was there something that you had that you needed to ask them, or was it just I want to say hello.
I think it was, well, this is a longer story because both of them have played a part along the path. That was the very beginning, I guess, for me. Again, I went into the jungle as an atheist, I guess you could say, and it's quite an intense experience, especially with this particular shaman who is quite renowned for doing it in the old way. So you would go and meet him. He would take you into the Amazon. He had a little island in the forest in the middle of the jungle, and you stayed on that island. But within there, he had these little huts scattered through the mountain. And you drank with him the first night with him, and he sang the Icarosis, and he would scan you and decide which plants you were going to do the diet with, the dieta. Then the next morning, he takes you and he puts you out in the middle of the jungle by yourself. And you are there for weeks. Well, I was there for weeks. And you're fasting. You're only eating a bowl of oats in the morning. You have water. There's no books. There's no phone. You can't even brush your teeth with toothpaste. You just brush your teeth with water. There's no soaps. You wash yourself with the water in the river. It's like
Completely stripped of anything that we would, yeah.
You're totally stripped of everything. And I mean, when I say this is like a hut, it's like bamboo leaves on the roof and four posts, and it's completely open to the jungle. And you have a little bed, like just a couple of feet off the ground, like a little single mattress, and a hammock and a mosquito net. And when you're laying in the bed, you could reach out and touch the leaves of the jungle that you were completely immersed in. And I'm saying this in a way to say that it was a weeks long ordeal. And when I went there, I was so close minded that no matter what he gave me to drink, nothing was changing. Night after night, night after night, I would drink this and sit in the jungle. And that's the other thing. You would drink it at night and he would bless you and leave you. And you were there to have the experience in the jungle by yourself. But for at least the first 5 times that I drank the ayahuasca, nothing was changing in my conscious experience. So it really, really challenged me. I had gone all this way and nothing was happening. And there you talk about the anger. Oh my God, the frustration. And it just broke me. It just completely wore me down to the point where I surrendered. And when I surrendered, because I had no fight left in me, the next night that he came to give me the medicine, I drank it. I sat up. I would sit and try and meditate and wait for something to change. Nothing was happening. So I lay down and went to sleep. And I woke up in the middle of the jungle, in the middle of a full flight ayahuasca experience. Very profound, intense experience. So that was my introduction. I actually woke up in it. And it was many things. Again, I could talk to you for a couple of hours about the different things that had happened or what the experiences were like. But it it was such a profound shift in consciousness. It was such a profound shift in my experience, and it also showed me many things from the past. And it allowed me to let them go. It allowed me to heal many things. It allowed me to see things from a different perspective, to forgive, to really understand, love, so many things. It gave me so many gifts. And at the end of that first experience, which must have went on all night, I lay down and I asked the spirit of the plant, I asked where they were, and then I felt their presence. Then I saw like I saw another place. I saw another kind of peaceful realm that they were in, and I felt them. And they sent me a sign. They sent me a symbol of a cherry blossom, and the cherry blossoms were trees that my father had planted in the back garden in our home. And there's a picture I have of him putting me up as a child up into the cherry blossom trees. So they sent me this flower and I felt them. Now, I didn't speak with him in a conversational way, but I knew that they were there, and not that they were there. What it showed me was that they were a part of me, that I am them, and I feel that very acutely within me. As my years have gone on, I feel my mother and my father with me.
Mm.
And then further on in life, after that, I really studied the yoga and the meditation, and it was on a silent meditation retreat on the top of the Blue Mountains behind Sydney in Australia, where I felt my father's presence come again, and I felt him put his hand on my shoulder, and he goes, "You've been looking for me, but it's the truth that you're after, and this is where you need to come."
And what was the truth that you're after?
a greater sense of understanding of, I guess, of me, of who I am.
Yeah.
You know, I think that was the thing. It was like, this is all these healing modalities, these shamanic practices, the ayahuasca, the meditation, the yoga. It was all leading me back to me and the full acceptance of me and the understanding that I am, and we all are, much more than what we perceive ourselves to be.
Amen. Well, I love that journey, because I know we had a conversation the other day, but we didn't go into that. So I love, that. I think, I tell you what, it took a brave soul to go on that quest. Sometimes when we reflect back in life and different things that we've done, we think, how did I get through that? How did I do that? But as you say, there was something that was drawing you to that way. Now, I'm going to tell you that I have not spoken to anyone else that I know of has gone to the Amazon who has slept in a hut. Not alone the mosquitoes. I'd be thinking, is there anything else? So all the fears, everything else that would arise in you, and that was your path. That was your course. And
Yeah.
now through all of that, and you also taught yourself guitar, and I have listened to a lot of your music, and it's beautiful. And so for anyone, check out on Facebook or Instagram, David Scullion. If I was to describe how he looks, your man JC, he kind of has that image going on. And what I'm going to do at the end of this podcast, I'm going to get one of your songs and add it on to the end of this podcast, so our listeners can be transported.
Wow, well, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I'll get one of your audios and add it on to the end of this podcast. So, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I could sit and listen and talk and hear more about this, but with all of your teachings and learnings and experience, David, that you're able to provide a platform for people if anyone wants to reach out. It's davidscullion.com.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the man. And you'll get he's on the social media platforms also.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned the music, because the last thing I say about my time in the jungle, it was it was the ayahuasca that taught me to sing. I wasn't a musician growing up, but it was a great gift that it granted me. It taught me to sing. It showed me the power and the beauty of music. So yeah, it's very special and very dear to me. But yeah,
Lovely.
yeah.
Well, David, thank you so much for your time and presence. And it's great that our paths have crossed. And I'm quite sure we've met other energetically. And through our senses, we see other. But I think someday, our paths will cross.
Yeah,
We'll
hopefully I
to
get
meet.
to chat with you in person.
Yeah, that'll be wonderful. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time to listen today. I hope something that David has shared with you has made a difference to your day and to your life. And enjoy this beautiful music. Thank you.
When the Siento el fuego dentro, dentro. Siento el fuego, aquí te encuentro. Pachamama en este fuego. Pachamama, aquí te encuentro. Pachamama en este fuego. Pachamama, aquí te encuentro. Vuela, vuela, aguilita. Vuela, vuela, condorcito. Vuelan libre con nosotros. Cuidan, miran todo, todo. Hoy. En el cielo y en la tierra, con el sol y las estrellas. En el cielo y en la tierra, la lulita de las estrellas. Siento el fuego dentro, dentro. Siento el fuego, aquí te encuentro. Siento el fuego dentro, dentro. Siento el fuego, aquí te encuentro. Pachamama en este fuego. Pachamama, aquí te encuentro. Pachamama en este